Well, Dom Mafia, JJ Watt us. That is right, ladies and gentlemen. He left our balls so blue by teasing us for weeks. And not even us. I mean, I think that he's been practically just having a ball trying to be as cryptic as possible and bring up a bunch of high hopes for several NFL franchises, but particularly Buffalo, right? I mean, number one, the first sign was him tweeting that picture of his wife eating wings. And so then, of course, he tweeted how the mitochondria was the powerhouse of the cell, leading a lot of people from Buffalo to believe that he was talking about the research center that is located in our beautiful city, or the fact that mitochondria had the exact same amount of letters as Buffalo Bills. Who knows? He decided to go to the Arizona Cardinals, which doesn't really make a lot of sense to me since he was reported to wanting to be with a contender. But hey, you know what? Sometimes money talks, baby. And that's where he decided to go. Luckily for the Buffalo Bills, we still have a lot of options, okay? And I just so happened to come across an article from Buffalo Rumblings. I love that company. I actually regularly collab with Buff Hub, my buddy Steve that runs that podcast over there. I found this article that I thought was pretty interesting. We could go over it, and I will also link it in my description in case you guys want to check it out for yourself. Before I dive into this video, guys, I do want to remind everyone that I recently just partnered with Amazon Music. Guys, I shit you not. If you have Spotify or Apple Music, you need to sign up for this free trial. And since you're a part of the Dom Mafia, you use my link in my description, you'll have an opportunity of seeing that this platform is night and day better than Spotify and Apple Music. You use the link in my description and you're automatically getting 1 month completely for free. You will not be charged a dime as long as you just put a little calendar reminder 2 or 3 days before your card will get charged. Cancel it if it's not for you, but I'm almost willing to bet that you're gonna love it and you're gonna move forward with it. Do me a favor, hit that link. It supports my channel as well. So hit that link, sign up for your free trial, and enjoy, baby, enjoy. And so first name on this list is a gentleman by the name of Justin Houston. He just ended up finishing up a 2-year contract worth about $24 million with the Indianapolis Colts. Now, if we wanted to look for somebody that was around the same age bracket, not quite as good as JJ Watt, but I mean, I suppose that he could be an upgrade to what we have so far, this could be the guy. They're saying his market value is closer to around 8 to 10 million. He is 32 years old though. I'm not sure personally that this would be a tremendous fit for us. I think it might be a good fit for as far as cost, but as far as talent, I mean, we could see what's going on. He does have close to 100 career sacks, which is great. And he had 8 sacks and 25 pressures in 2020 based off of the Indianapolis Colts. Now, that should get us excited, I guess, but then again, Mario Addison had 9 for the past 4 years minus 2020, and we didn't unfortunately get to see that type of production coming from somebody who's getting up there in age. So, in my opinion, I mean, I guess I wouldn't be disappointed. I mean, frankly, I wouldn't be disappointed in anybody on this list, but he would not be my first choice. Okay, so let's move on. And so, all right, next is Carl Lawson. I'm sure a lot of you have been seeing this trending on Bill's Twitter specifically. In fact, I feel like it was almost the second that the news that JJ Watt was going to Arizona, we ended up seeing Carl Lawson now being the #1 defensive end that everybody was talking about, and for good reason. Granted, he didn't become a starter until this year. In fact, he ended up having 32 quarterback hits, 44 pressures, but only ended up sacking somebody about 5.5 times. Now, I mean, you've heard me say before that sacks don't necessarily tell you the entire story. It doesn't really tell you how great of a unit your front seven can be. But when I look at this Carl Lawson situation, based off of 1 year, how young this dude is, by the way, this could possibly be a pretty solid pickup. Now, granted, it's not a JJ Watt. We understand that. He's off the table. That ship has sailed. But this could be somewhat pretty interesting. I mean, he's about to turn 26, like I said, and his market value is somewhere close to 8 to 12 million. I'm almost willing to bet it's going to be closer to 8, especially since he wasn't even a starter until 2020. Now, is this a risk that, for all we know, this past year was just simply a fluke? Who knows? Who really, really knows? But at the end of the day, I think that this would be a very intriguing pickup, and it could be somewhat affordable. He's young. Say that he's available, do it up. And so next up is another guy that had a hell of a 2020 season, and so like our last guy, he only became a starter this year in his 4th year in the entire NFL. But like I said, in 2020, he had a hell of a year for the New Orleans Saints. And so he ended up delivering 13.5 sacks. I mean, that's pretty damn good. Pretty damn good, if you don't mind asking me. Mr. Hendrickson is about 6'4", 270 pounds, and so like Carl Lawson, he is turning 26 years old relatively shortly. You know, his best season in 2020, like I said, he just became a starter, and still at the end of the day, he was only out in the field about 53% of his snaps. So we don't know whether or not that his production was overall the fact that he was a relatively rested defensive end, or that's just a small speck of his potential of what he can provide to the Buffalo Bills front seven and overall pressure rate. They're saying right now that his overall market value is going to be close to $10 million per year. Too expensive in my opinion, especially since we're not getting a player like JJ Watt. But I mean, say that we can negotiate something a bit on the lower side, then I think Trey Hendrickson would be able to go on ahead and really make some moves. And so finally, I'm going to just actually combine both of these guys because I think both of them are wildly inconsistent. I think both of them are wildly overrated. I think that I do not want the Buffalo Bills touching either of these guys with a 10-foot pole. And that just so happens to be Jadeveon Clowney and Vic Beasley. Both of them were with the Tennessee Titans this past year, and they did not have a good season whatsoever. At all, especially for the money that Tennessee ended up going on ahead and sending their way. I mean, Clowney did not register a single sack all year, and so Vic Beasley was actually waived from the entire team in November. So when we look at these two players, we look at players that were absolute stars when they first ended up getting to the league, but it seems like that they're just slowly starting to spiral downhill. So as far as Jadeveon Clowney is concerned, he ended up signing a $13 million contract with Tennessee last year. I mean, I would be surprised if he gets half of that with whatever team he ends up signing with next year, a one-year deal. And same with Vic Beasley, right? I mean, last year he signed a $9.5 million contract with Tennessee, and it's looking like, if I had to guess, he'd be around the same ballpark. So while both of these guys, I suppose it could be a super high ceiling, since they still could have some gas in the tank, maybe they just need to get into the right defensive scheme, I think that they would make sense financially, but as far as overall production, I wouldn't hold my breath that we would see any significant change to our struggles with the pass rush. That's going to have to do it. Do me a favor, leave a comment. What do you think? What's the most attractive defensive end piece that you can see from a free agent perspective? Hell, say that you don't even want to go through free agency and you want to just hit the draft, and we draft a defensive end, the first pick we have for the second year in a row, and we just keep rolling the dice, baby. What do you think? What do you think we should do? Are any of these names attractive to you? I really, really want to hear your thoughts. Down Mafia, thank you for tuning in to yet another edition of the Down Mafia Report. And before I let you go, always remember, let's go Buffalo.